Kia ora koutou. This is just a nice reserve dive from last year. Taking out a good mate of mine who hasn't done a lot of light diving in a few years, so sort of take him out in the reserve and get him to see something and see how things go. And it was pretty nuts. As you can see straight off the bat, a metre or two of water. We've got a few crays lying around. And the more we kind of looked around, the more we sort of found it was pretty impressive. Just my hand there for scale. These bloody chocker, crays everywhere, crays on top of crays. I think one of the things that always gets me in the reserve is how many paua there are and just the size of them, as they are just everywhere. And it must be so bloody good for the ecosystem. The amount of spawn that these guys must pump out, that must sort of affect the rest of the coast, is pretty impressive. So we're pretty bloody lucky in Wellington. And then obviously just making our way out, start seeing a few muki, and of course when you see some nice muki you just want to follow them around and see where they lead you. Not a red muki, but for some reason these ones decided to play part of their relatives and lead me to a few more crays. Just kind of go down. Nice big cray at the bottom of this hole. Same thing, this is still only in about 3 or 4 metres of water, and this is just chocker, just to a little screen capture so you get an idea of actually how many crayfish are just in this little hole. Lovely nice shot. Just channeling my inner South Sea Spearos here, my inner Sam Wild, as we sort of follow this fella around, and again back to a big old buck. A few nice little crays in there. It just seemed I couldn't escape the crays this dive, so just sort of following the fish around. It's pretty impressive. You'll see a few of his mates around here as we sort of went around. Nice big muki, sort of, I don't know, 50, 60 centimetres, not monsters, but just nice fish. Nothing you wouldn't question pulling the trigger on if you were not in the reserve. If you get a bit annoyed at me in this clip, I'm carrying around a bit of hose I found. I like to, as I go in the reserve, just pick up a few bits of rubbish, just clean it up a bit. But here are a few of those muki and their mates. Again, another big cray they're hanging around. You just see the size of this fella's legs. He doesn't care about me. He's pretty used to people, which is cool to see. Crays like this is sort of, I think taking beginners in the reserve is really nice because at least they get to see something. But this year, probably the highlight of my dive is just the old surface cray. It's probably one of my favourite things in the world. And you're looking down. Oh yeah, there's a cray there. Let's go have a look if there's anything else in this hole. Not really expecting too much. You get down there and it is just chocker. Crays on top of crays, crays facing the wrong way. More feelers than feelings, you know, these things just don't care. It's pretty impressive. And this crap just ran all the way up the side here. Sorry, it's a bit shaky, but the old handy cam didn't work too well on this one. But this is me dropping down top of that same hole. Just one nice big chain of crays. And as I always kind of say, is when you find one crayfish, always have a look around for some more. Because this crack on top here would be the sort of cracking out of the reserve that a lot of people wouldn't find, just because of how embedded in the weed it is. So just make sure when you're not in the reserve, you're looking for crays, you're looking in those just around where you find them. A blue cod here. Again, not too phased. Again, crays on top of paua, on top of crays, on top of paua. I know it's a no take, but for me, I think this is probably just as satisfactory as a nice dive where you shoot a few fish and get a few crays, because just of what you see makes you feel good that at least there is a good bit of ecosystem going around. This fella, not even in a hole, just kind of under a bit of weed, no crack there. Paua, the size of a dinner plate in about 2 metres of water. All of these things are massive, very deep. You never sort of get a scale of just how tall they are and deep they stick up, which is a pretty bloody choice to see. Just on the way in, favourite part of reserve diving is me mate. It's just sort of on the way back in, seeing how shallow you can find crays, because I just think there's nothing that's a better indicator of people kind of sticking to the rules than crays right and shallow. So here, you know, obviously a couple metres, just having a play and looking for some shallow crays. I think the clip at the end is pretty impressive, but it's a nice big paua. Just power and power and power. Not something I'd usually get excited about, but just in the reserve, there's something about just seeing that many of them, eh? Just sort of, yeah. Here we go. Nice shallow crayfish. Big cray too. He's a bit scared of me, this one. Doesn't like me. Kicks up a bit of a fuss, so we let him be and move on to see what else we can find. More power. More crayfish. More crayfish. And in my mission to find the shallowest crays, I think these are the ones, just on our way in, just as sort of popping back up to the reef to swim in. Beautiful nest here, and I guess these reserves are pretty awesome because they kind of show us kind of what we could have. I guess it always comes back to the same old legacy saying with limiting your catch and not catching your limit. Just making sure there's enough there for future generations. And